All right, everybody, welcome to the 4th episode of Ranger Things, a monthly podcast focused on the first 100% community-based organization on the WildRP server, the Saints Crossing Ranger Corps. To give a little bit of background on the Rangers, our bread and butter is currently in search and rescues, where a player in the server gets incapacitated and it's up to us to find them and escort them safely to town. A lot of people probably in the server think we're just staff that somehow suddenly know where someone is, and we just wait a little bit and go pick them up, make them wait and think about what they've done and maybe make a plan to never do it again. But sadly, that's not the case. We're actual players. And we got to go out there and find you wherever you get yourselves hurt. And we love it. It's so much fun. So we got to find you and we got to escort you safely to town. We're also usually expert hunters and have vast knowledge of the entire crossing when it comes to animal hunting grounds, predator dens, herb locations, and a ton more. I'm ArmoredAndy, your host, and I currently play Head Ranger Buzz Buxton on the server. Now, every successful Head Ranger needs support from the Rangers as a whole, and those most dedicated to the core are the Game Wardens. Currently, there are 2 Game Wardens within the Rangers. That's Walker and Deuce Patterson, the oldest and grittiest sons of bitches we've seen in the Rangers in a long time. They are played by the talented Machobuffalo and Preacher, 2 powerhouses of roleplay that have climbed the Ranger ranks, and we are so grateful for it. And those 2, the dynamic duo, those are our guests today. So Macho, Preacher, welcome on in, guys.
What is up?
What's going on, man?
Hi, guys. I'm just making sure everything is good. Okay, yeah, no, you guys are coming in great. Now, keep in mind, everybody in chat, throw some questions in. We will be getting to them as we go. So, but in the meantime, we do have some quick questions to get started, kind of wet our whistle. So pretty much, let's start out with the 2 of you. How long have you both been role-playing on Wild? Did you both come in around the same time? I mean, I kind of figure you're a package deal because, I've talked to you guys a little bit. So you're like a tag team.
Yeah. Me personally, I got accepted in February of last year, but I didn't start actively playing like consistently until about June, which is about the same time that Preacher started as well.
Yeah, I got accepted in April, and then again didn't play until June. But I came in March, so I've been role playing on Wild for like a year and some change now.
Yeah.
Now, where did you role play previously? Before that,
we it was a
I mean, backtrack. If it started with like tabletop, it doesn't necessarily have to be just computer games or anything, or other Red servers and stuff. Like, where did this all come from for each of you?
That's the thing for me. My roleplay literally started with Red. I was modding Red Dead Redemption 2 one day, and I was just so bored. I was like, so I googled some random stuff one day, and I found a server called Wild West. I was like, oh, what is this? I read a little bit about it. Oh, it's roleplay. What's going on? And then figured out like Redem existed, and I was like, okay, let's see what this is all about. I ended up joining a public server called Western Roleplay. And
Western fucking roleplay, baby.
Dude, oh my god. And then we just went on from there. So my first ever experience with roleplay was Redem.
Yeah. They went all out on that server name, huh?
They put some mean thought in that one.
I'm sure they meant well.
That's my personal experience with roleplay.
Yeah. It was about the same for me. I did have some experience with roleplay beforehand. Back in like, it would have been like 2016, 2017. I kind of embarrassing to admit, but I really got into Gmod roleplay, which believe it or not, was a thing. It was actually a pretty big scene in Gmod for roleplay. I mean, they had something called Dark RP, which is basically like the Gmod equivalent of 5M. They had military roleplay, Star Wars roleplay. They had a whole lot of stuff, and I got my start on a military roleplay server, which consisted of a bunch of grown men yelling at children to do a bunch of weird movements with their mouse, and if they didn't, then they got shot. The roleplay was very, how do you say it? Very rough. Rough is a good way to put it. But that was maybe a 6th or 7th month thing, and eventually, back in around October, November 2021, a friend was trying to get me into Redim because he had seen a video of it on YouTube and he wanted someone to play with on a public server, and me and him ended up picking Western Roleplay, and that's where I ended up meeting a lot of people that I know now, and that's where I got my first start with like genuine, real, serious roleplay, even if the server was a little rough around the edges, which it most certainly was.
We already
Also,
have.
if you hear banging, also, sorry, if you hear banging, I have construction going on around my house right now, so I during downtime I'll stay muted, so none of that really gets through.
Do we dare reveal why the construction is happening, or no, or is that too much?
No, I'm fine with saying that. So some bad storms came through the part of the country I live in, and basically we had in what do they call it? It's E1 through 5, right? Like 1 being the weakest and 5 being the strongest.
I think. I haven't watched Twister in a long time, but
yeah, we had our Twister moment, and E2 came through, and it ripped up a shit ton of trees around the area I live in, and we had 2 fall on our deck that we had outside, and also my roof. So right now we have a construction crew kind of patching up a giant hole that we have in one of our rooms. So if you hear that, just know that that's what's going on.
now I could hear it for just a hot second, but it's all right. It's in the background. We're focusing on what you guys are saying. It's great. And Madam in chat actually went through an F5 in May of 2011. Well, you know what? We are so glad you're with us. Holy heck. But Madam
F5s.
did drop. Yeah, that's scary.
That's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. We, Madam did drop a first question in chat. What is the hardest rescue that you guys have had to do? I think I know Deuce's. I don't know Bear's.
Oh, you'll remember it. So the hardest one definitely had to have been the one before we got all of our commodities we have now. So I joined the Rangers just at the tail end of when we were still doing everything on Google Drive.
Uh-huh.
So we didn't have, like, search and rescues were not the main thing we did. The main thing we did was patrols, basically going around killing wild animals and calling that work. But we got a report from somebody that I believe it was Mato was doing that little mountain obstacle up near Telpaoda.
Oh, yeah.
He ended up slipping and getting incapped up there, and one of his friends had to finish the course and come find somebody to help him. So he came to the Rangers. There's about 5 of us around, I think, and we went out there and we tried to figure out where he was, because all we were told is that he is... Oh, they didn't tell us directly where. They used the map as a reference. They said he's around the E in Grizzly's East, I think it was. And obviously there's 2 E's in Grizzly's East, so we kind of had to figure out what they meant. Eventually, after about 45 minutes of just looking around and yelling out, we ended up spotting him on the edge of this obstacle course. And there's no way we could reach him without having to do the actual obstacle course. So we had to send in somebody. I think it was Colcade, played by Rhodey, I believe. He had to go down there and run through the obstacle course to get to him. And during his little run, he ended up slipping as well.
It's just one of those one after the other.
Exactly.
We've had those
bad.
days. We've had those days where it's been like a southern, what is it? Not Southern Lemoyne, Southern Scarlet Meadows, where the Panther is, and like one person gets hurt. One ranger goes out on their own, they get hurt. Then another ranger goes out, they get hurt, and then now it's just a matter of getting two rangers to stop at one time and say, we need to go do this together. Not just another one goes out, then another one goes out. It just turns into a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm. I believe he was able to get Mato up first, and when they tried to finish the obstacle course, that is when Cole slipped. And I think we had the brave soul, Haldreen, played by, I believe,
Zombie Fun.
Zombie Fun. He went through the obstacle course, and he ended up slipping as well. It was a bloodbath. And then Mato ended up slipping as well. So I think that we had 3 people downed that day, and we had to go to the bottom of the cliff and fetch them. So yeah, that was interesting. That was about a 3-hour period in total.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I certainly hadn't had like a search and rescue like that, but the hardest one, which you probably know, would be the one with a Rip all the way up in the eastern frontier overlooking the Barrow. And getting there was the easy part.
This was the day the frontiers opened, right? Or the second day that the western and eastern frontiers had opened up on the map. That devs, they'd released this update, and there was a whole new land up there that we could venture out, and all kinds of people were getting hurt up there. So
yeah, I think it was like a day or two after, and Rip had slipped and fell on it was like a cliff edge. It was weird. And Saffron was actually able to get a telegram out to us and a little guide for direction on how to get to where they were and where he could have possibly been. So it was me and someone else who I cannot remember the name of decided to go up there. It wasn't another ranger. It was someone else. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Was it Anna of Wapiti? I think it was Anna. Not Anya. Anna from Wapiti.
Yeah, you may be right. I'm not 100% sure, but you're probably right. But we went up there. We went looking. I ended up seeing him because it was like a big red bush. And I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know a bush. That's the big red brown bear coat. Found him. He was in a spot where you had to slip down, and there was no way to get back up. So I told Anna, I said, hey, I'm gonna go down. I need you to get back to Coulter and tell people there that there's gonna be someone severely hurt at Barrow, possibly 2. I think she made it safe. I don't remember, tell you the truth. But eventually, I got a hold of him. There's no real easy way to get him down because it's in the snow and you can't medical bag someone when they're in snow. It has to be in a
That's right.
It has to be like on a rock or something. And in that immediate area, there's no flat rocks. It's just snow and mountain. And I was like, okay, this is going to be rough. So the only way to really get him down was just to throw both of ourselves off and hope for the best. Because I didn't have a rope. Until this day, I still don't. But I did we took all the med bags I have and I took all the gauze and shit out for them and packed them, made packing into his clothes and whatnot, and then mine, and then we just chucked ourselves off. He got to a certain point where he kept rolling and he stopped, and I couldn't get back up to him to pick him up and just to keep him going forward. He actually had to relog after about 45 minutes of trying. He relogged, kept on rolling down. I eventually got him down, ran his ass to borrow, and there was no horse there. There was no one there. So I was like, oh shit, this is a problem. Am I going to have to haul ass with him on my shoulder back to Coulter? That's going to be a pain. It's like the God-given timing of it all was perfect. I put his shoulder back into place, which was something else. That man's soundboard was crazy. And then here's two people riding on by, and one of them's Marjorie, and the other one is Eleanor. Yeah. I basically flagged them out and said, hey, we need to ride to Coulter. I found Rip. He's hurt pretty bad. They gave us the rides. We got there. He's safe and sound, and we're good. We're all good. That was the hardest search and rescue, but it was a good one. It was a lot of fun.
But are they not satisfying? Yeah. Like
the second I seen the two Marjorie and Eleanor right up, I was like, yes, thank God. It was just finally, and it felt so good.
That is awesome. I remember that. I remember you coming back and just feeling so accomplished and just feeling good. I mean, it's not like us, patting each other on the back and being like, yeah, we're the best. It's just sometimes the people get hurt in the weirdest of places. A lot of times it's easy, like if it's Northern Great Plains, it's one or two places. It's like easy to find people, but sometimes you'll go Grizzlies East. Sometimes you have to go up to, Spider Gorge. All different places people can get hurt, and it can take you a while to find them. And not only that, when you find them, it still is sometimes extremely difficult to get them out, especially the Grizzlies East, that mountain face where you can get incapped halfway down. And now people have to get down there without getting incapped themselves, get you up potentially, or just throw you further down the cliff so that you survive. That was kind of what happened the other night when Buzz got stabbed in the leg with a knife.
Oh, that was hilarious.
It had to happen. Oh, it had to happen. So what would... It just is balance. This deputy was like, Buzz, I have a feeling you're probably the best mountaineer of us all, so I'm going to give you this knife that is very cherished to me. By chance, we need other mountaineers to take us to town. I trust that you'll find a way all the way down. And I said, all right, I'll do my best. And so we all made it down. We were all incapped. But I said, all right, what can we do to just have some fun? So of course the knife she cherished fell out of Buzz's satchel and on the way down and got stabbed right into his leg. So it was poetry. Yeah, it's poetry. As George Lucas says, it's poetry. What makes you guys excited to roleplay in Red Dead? There's DayZ roleplay, there's a GTA roleplay. Like what makes you what gets you going for Red Dead?
The game is, for how old is it, like 5 years old, something like that. It looks awesome.
5, yeah.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks so good. So that the server itself is something else. Just everything that goes into it, the people there, the people that work on everything. It's one of a kind. That the server and the time period. I like my cowboys. I like my outlaws, bandits, cattle rustlers, etc. But if there's one real thing that sticks out to me in that time period, the 1900s, it is the fur traders, the trappers, the mountain men, the wayfarers. Those guys really stick out to me. And again, I like my cowboys, but there's something about the living the old-fashioned ways really appeals to me. And I'm glad I get to role play it because it's pretty cool being that grizzled guy. But goddamn, it would be miserable to live like them. Oh my God, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Awful. Awful.
You know why they're grumpy AF, you know? It's because they just like they don't talk to
live.
anyone. Yeah, they just go out, kill shit, skin it, dry it, you know, put it up on their tanning racks and talk to themselves mostly. Maybe they have a dog, you know, and their dog takes the brunt of all their conversations. Suddenly somebody shows up with like another opinion and they're like, I suddenly don't like you. No. Who are you?
Yeah, that's how it was back in the day.
Yeah.
I do a lot of reading and all of that. It's pretty interesting to hear all the stories and how things were done back then. And I kind of add it to Deuce. Like I've been sort of like slowly compiling it into one giant book that is eventually going to get finished. Eventually, with all kinds of techniques, the list goes on. But that's really what sticks out for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's me excited to play on the server. It's just being a mountain man. That really I enjoyed a whole lot. It's what really sticks out to me.
I'd kind of just second what Preacher said. Really, I mean, this game is it's something else. The game to me, it's personally my favorite video game of all time. Like it's a little bit of recency bias, but like it's just something about it, and the way everything works, the mechanics, even just in base game, the way everything comes together, the story, graphics, gameplay, environments, map. I mean, everything is it's wonderful, and not to mention the roleplay aspect. I mean, coming into Redim, we both came in onto a public server, WesternRP, and when I first started, I thought that was the hottest shit right there. I mean, I was really into the game leading up to discovering Redim. So the day of the game releasing, I had already had it pre-ordered, and I had set an alarm the night before for 4 a.m. so I could wake up and play it, because I was obsessed with Red Dead Redemption 1. I played it throughout my entire childhood. Like the moment I got an Xbox, like in the classic Xbox 360, I got Red Dead Redemption 1 with the Undead Nightmare DLC, and I would just replay it on repeat over and over and over again. And I fell in love with the genre, the style of gameplay, the story, the world. And then with Red Dead 2 coming out, I mean, it was a match made in heaven, really. On PS4, I think I put in like just in single player alone, I probably put in 2,000 or 3,000 hours just repeating the story over and over again, discovering new things, 100%ing, doing new like different looks for Arthur and stuff. And then with Red Dead Online, I would grind that. I had like 3 or 4 different characters that I played. It was great. And with them kind of slowing down on the Red Dead Online updates, they were coming less frequently, and when they did come, they were kind of mediocre, to be honest. It kind of it made me expand what I wanted to do in terms of the game, because I had this idea of how I wanted to play the game, and I couldn't fully achieve it without mods, and that's what got me into Redim, and that's what got me into roleplay, and that's what got me here. I mean, Western. Me and Preacher both roleplayed on Western for nearly a year. We both came in around the same time, around November, and our characters started being around each other pretty often, like around when the New Year started, and we got friends that we would do stuff with. We did stuff with each other up until about June, and then we made the move to Wild, and we've been loving it ever since. Something about the way everything comes together, the story we want to tell with our characters, the mountain man lifestyle. That's another thing I want to second.
Yes,
that's we both really love that aspect of this genre, Western, and it's something that we can achieve, especially with this new patch that we're both waiting on. the color changes, that's gonna be fucking revolutionary for our mountain men outfits. My lord. We got our fingers crossed, we got our toes tapping, we're fucking tap dancing and waiting for this shit.
Yeah,
If Kono's listening right now, I'll shoot him like a quick $20 bill real quick. And maybe we can get the patch going, like maybe tomorrow. I think that'd be a good idea. But
still banging on the 30th.
Yeah, we got bits. We got bits going.
Oh, really? Oh, we should do something
Preacher
in
thinks-
we should do something in the Ranger
Preacher
chat.
thinks- Preacher thinks it's dropping on the 30th, which, that makes sense. That makes sense. What is that, a Saturday? Sunday?
I'm thinking July 4th.
July 4th? I'm thinking July 2nd. That's my guess.
Ooh.
Because I'm pretty sure the last big patch that came out, it came out on like a random ass Wednesday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it was a Wednesday, right?
I can't remember for the life, but probably, because I just remember it being an odd day where suddenly Buzz is running all the way to the top of the map, like outside the boundary. Just there's this little arrow, there's this dot out on the map that is not even drawn. And so I take screenshots of it and start sending it to everyone like, guys, this is how far I got. Other people sending me messages. Oh, I got this far west, or I got this far east. So
it was magical. I mean, we weren't doing anything. No one was expecting anything. And out of nowhere, we all get the server ping. Just update dropping in 15 minutes. Get ready to reset and get back in.
So, I mean, given the mountain, given like what I personally love about it is the fact that the way that they crafted the game, there were so many locations that there could be all these different roleplay stories happening. You can have a Western story that only takes place in Saint Denis, but then you can also have people in Manzanita Post like you guys, these mountain men, these guys of the forest and of the mountains that know how to survive, that don't necessarily, they might see one person a week and they're fine with that. And then you can also have stuff out in the desert. Like it's so vast and so many different kinds of jobs, different kinds of views of life. The variety is just absolutely amazing, and to witness it with all the different players and all the different characters they bring to the table is just, it's phenomenal. It's completely immersive, and that's what made me addicted. Like I've told people I mainline WildRP, and I've done it for the last 2 years, and it hasn't been a problem yet, but some point maybe it's going to get there, just not yet. So I guess you guys could have just stayed fur trappers and done your own thing, but what brought you guys to the Rangers?
Well, I remember. Do you know Korean Jesus, the guy who plays Leon Buckley?
Buckley, yeah.
He is also from Western RP. He moved over a little bit before we did, and me and him were talking one day, and he told me about the Rangers. And when he told me about them, I was imagining like Texas Rangers. Like I was thinking like law department, go out there, basically just like marshals of New Austin or something. And I asked him like, okay, what do they do? Are they like detectives or something? He's like, no, they wear green ponchos and they go around the woods. I'm like, that's my fucking jam right there. I love that shit. I mean, even with us being really into like the mountain man roleplay, we know like the in-game map really good, and we really enjoy the aspect of wildlife. So the Rangers, in terms of a service role, just kind of it fit together like a puzzle piece for me personally. I mean, it was a no-brainer, especially for my character. The storyline he got left off with after the move from Western to Wild, it made sense for my character to go into a service role, but not into law. And I feel like the Rangers were the best thing, and they were. It was a great choice then, and it remains to be a good choice now, especially with all the people I've met, role played with, all the experiences I've gotten on the server with the Rangers. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, that was beautifully spoken. Look at you.
Yeah,
essentially the same way. He heard from Korean about these guys that go into the woods and whatnot, wear green ponchos, and then we actually met Leon in game, who told us, like in character, about the Rangers, what they do. And that very same day, we both sent our telegrams to the state ranger. However, I forgot to put my telegram in that telegram. And this is true. Every time I bring this up in character, it actually happened. I didn't put my telegram in that telegram, and I sent 2 to State Ranger Ross. Never had a word back. I just thought it wasn't meant to be. And that's the time when I got back into Destiny real crazy, like for like the next 4 months there. Just absolutely grinded that game. And then I got burnt out. And then I came back, and then I tried it again, but Mancho told me, hey, make sure you put your telegram in that telegram to St. Western, where it does it for you. And it, like, when that happened, it clicked with me. I was like, damn.
He never put his telegram in there. when the instructions on how to join the Rangers literally specified, put your fucking telegram, or else we're not getting back with you.
Does anybody ever read instructions? Answer that.
Well, I did. So.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
And everyone knows that I am everybody. So
yeah, but essentially, it's the same thing. There, as Mancho said, it's a perfect fit. Back in Western, what a lot of the backstory you hear from Deuce really did happen. A lot of it has been scrapped and cut away completely because we do not speak about what happens on public servers.
Look, there was a period there where both of us, what's the saying? You are who you hang around.
Yeah, you are who you spend your time with. Yeah.
Yeah, you are who you spend your time with. We started dropping our standards a little bit.
Just a tad.
I've seen a few of those clips. Yeah.
Yeah, you saw them.
That's right. You have seen a couple, and yeah. So a lot of that's been scrapped away, except for a couple of really key things there, and I've just kept those and sort of like meshed it to give them like a decent background, but nothing too crazy. And that's where sort of the what you heard today on Buzz, actually this morning, that's where that comes from. We both played basically. We were detectives. Well, we were basically U.S. Marshals, and that Western server, the law there was really heavy-handed for the criminals.
It was pretty bad,
and it was pretty easy just to bring someone in and just send them away. And that's kind of like the reputation we both garnered was, when something needs to get done, you send these two. And I basically scrapped that, said whatever I said in game, and that's pretty much it. So it's just seeing the Rangers, hearing about them, what they do. I'm like, this is a character reset pretty much. It's a service role. I'm game for it. It fits, and it was pretty cool.
It's kind of like a reboot. Like you take the big story pieces and you keep them, but you kind of get rid of the smaller little unnecessary details. But the way it was on Western, it was bad. Basically, the law system, there was no real in between. There was the way it works, like the way they have it on Wild. Personally, I think it's great. There's genuine consequence if you go on a giant spree. You have to wait your out of character days. There's no way to speed it up other than maybe role playing out, like getting like a plea deal or a bargain with like the Wardens or something. But on Western, you could attempt to kill like 3 different lawmen, rob 2 banks, like uppercut a baby or something, and you would get the maximum. Yeah, well, we didn't have babies on the server. There's no uppercutting babies. Disregard that point. But the most you could get was 1,400 days. Next patch, uppercutting babies. Kono, you heard it first. 1,400 days, which the days on Western didn't translate how they do on Wild. 1,400 days meant 1,400 minutes. So the maximum you could get was 1,400. So when you got transferred to Sisika, you could do mini games in there, and you could take off 5 minutes for each one, and each one took like 40 or 50 seconds. So criminals on Western had a meta that they would do, where they would do everything that they did, right? They would garner a bunch of money from the banks they robbed, all the loot they got from lawmen and civilians that they robbed. They would do what they needed to do. If they had beef with somebody, they would kidnap them and do everything they wanted to them. And they would put all their stuff away in a wagon, which on Western, all the wagons had infinite inventory space. Meaning there was no like worry about running out of inventory space at all. So people would store all their loot on their wagons, and they would turn themselves in. And they would spend like an hour or two doing those mini games, and they would just get back out there and do it. And after a while, it became too much for the law to handle. That they didn't feel like the roleplay was being respected. They didn't feel as though there was enough consequence. So what came of that was an addition with sending people to prison for life, and the ability to be forced perma by law, meaning that if you did a heinous enough crime, you like what were the prerequisites? Was it murder? I think it was murder and torture, right?
I don't have the notes anymore, so I don't remember.
We on the law list where it kept track of all of the crimes and everything. The two crimes that you never wanted to be caught for was murder and torture. Because if you were, then that means that the next time you were caught, you were either going to prison for life, or you were getting forced permit by the law staff.
By execution.
Yeah, which it turned the roleplay around to where law was more powerful, but it absolutely killed the criminal scene on the server because nobody wanted to chance that. Nobody wanted to chance shooting somebody and then killing them, and then having their character took from them because someone died. And we ended up being a part of that because we were brought in after Crims had like took over everything. Like there's barely any law on the server. We came in, we ended up compiling evidence on all these big Crim groups, and slowly they would either hear from the grapevine that they got charged with something and would delete their character and run away. Do you remember that guy, by the way, Deuce? Damn, I just called you Deuce.
Damn you.
Damn you.
100% I do.
Yeah. People would either leave and just make new criminals that were the exact same person, but they would just rename them, or they would just die. They would die, they would get burnt out, they wouldn't want to play anymore, and they would move on to a different server. And it effectively killed Western RP. And Western RP is no longer a server because... what even happened? Do you remember?
Bad management.
Bad management, yeah. The owner of the server gave it to one of the staff on that server. And he ended up trying to implement a whole lot of changes that nobody was a fan of. And it basically pushed everyone from the server. And they announced that they had to shut it down. Back in was it June? Late June?
Something like that, yeah.
It was around that time.
Yeah, so that's... I'm sorry, go on.
No. I've been rambling long enough.
Oh, that's where we... That's where you get the, we hunted all these groups down and we killed them. That's where that comes from, because we really did hunt these people down. And
it was, yeah, that part's not a lie. Or like made up in the backstory or anything.
Yeah, no, a lot of the backstory is things that we did on a different server, but blended to fit the character and make it seem possible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And it is nice that you do have those character moments that were or they pre-existed on a different server that you could carry over compared to just making something all the way up from scratch, because that could be a little bit difficult sometimes. So Madam came in with another question, and jumping back to the Ranger stuff, like what do you guys think is the hardest thing in the process of becoming a Ranger?
Out of character, I would say commitment. It is it's a middle child between law and doctors. It's weird. There's a lot that we do, and then there's a lot that we cannot do. And I'm not complaining by any means. But commitment and having an understanding that this is not your typical role, I'd say that's one of the hard things in terms of like out of character things. That'd be, in my opinion, that'd be the toughest. In character, I would probably say, I'd probably say just learning. Myself and Macho, we play two old men. We know the game. We know the map. Some people really don't. This is their first time ever doing something like this, and having to actually, sort of really learn something in a video game, mind you, it's a bit tough keeping track of everything. And even then, everything is not guaranteed because Redem, and it's funky. So some things aren't there sometimes, and then something. It's just, if you don't have a real good grasp, it's going to be tough. Having things on, like, in-game. So I would say that would be my in-character reason. The hardest thing to learn or becoming a Ranger would be just learning.
I agree with him out of character. It's definitely a big change. If especially if you're coming from law or medical and you're trying to get into Ranger roleplay, it's kind of a discovery period on whether or not this is a role that would fit you and your character or not. Because the way we operate, we have to be very giving, and we have a lot of twigs that we don't want to step on that could end up hampering our ability to enjoy what we're doing. And that's the big thing with it, is that people tend to forget that this is a video game and that this is meant to be fun. It's not meant to be stressful. It's not meant to be it can't be time consuming, but it's not meant to be a second job, and sometimes it can be hard for people to balance that and kind of to help themselves discover, like, if this is really something that they want. In character, I would have to agree with him again on the map. It's really easy for us to say that whatever we do is easy. Like, in character, we've been doing these trials the past few weeks, and after every single one, my character and Deuce's character, my character and Preacher's character would make little notes after our trials, and we would say something like, "That was goddamn easy," or something like that. And if we compare ourselves, like, me and him have been playing this game for years, but other people, they were really into roleplay, and they probably caught a whiff of Redem or Wild, and they wanted to come over here and experience that, and they've never played the base game before. They don't know the map, they don't know the weapons, they don't know the mechanics or anything. And coming into the Rangers without any of that knowledge is going to be really hard, especially if you want to make it far in the actual ranks of the Ranger Corps. So the biggest things would be wildlife spawns and map knowledge. Map knowledge would be the worst one, because this map is gigantic. Like, I don't know what the actual scale is. Something's telling me like 16 square miles of actual, like, coverage over the entire map. But it's a lot, especially if you compare it to how the standards we wanted from the recruits, like say 8 months ago or like 10 months ago, when the average turnout time for a recruit was around 1 to 2 months, right? Like when Bear first joined back in July, it was 3 weeks. He was a ranger for 3 weeks, and a lot of that was just learning the way the rangers worked and adjusting his behavior. None of that was learning the mechanics, learning the map, or learning anything about the wildlife, because I already knew all that. I played an old grizzled character who would know that stuff as well, which helps resonate. It helps me not have to focus on trying to disconnect my knowledge from my character's knowledge. But if you're playing somebody that is young and green, and you yourself are young and green to the actual server and the way everything works, that would be the hardest part, especially just map knowledge.
Agreed. Yeah. I definitely feel it's map knowledge. Like, even when I started on the server, I knew how to get from point A to point B, but now just knowing all the little nooks and crannies that you only get from time spent wandering, honestly. Like, as Buzz says, he says, if he's out on a search and rescue, he will do most of the main places, predator dens, all that stuff, the main paths and all that, looking for things. And then he eventually goes into what he calls general wanderment, where he just will go in one direction and just wander. And sometimes, like, a lot of the times he finds people. Like, it's just strange because they're in an odd place. And the only way you're going to get there, like, you're never going to just ride right to them and find them. It's like, you just got to wander. They just keep talking. And then eventually, luckily, you find someone. And it's fun. But then suddenly you see them at this place and you're like, I've never seen this place before. And then you remember it. And then next time on another search and rescue, you go, you know what? I'm going to go check there again. So... Oh, the map in Red Dead Redemption 2 is approximately 29 square miles.
Wow.
I know there was some YouTube video that showed like all the different maps, like it did the, there've been videos where like they show like a little boat, like a dinghy, and then it goes up to like a yacht, then it goes up to the Titanic, then it goes up to an aircraft carrier. And so they've done that with maps, with game maps too. So.
And then not to mention all the custom stuff. For WoW, for this server,
yep,
that added, it adds more to it.
More to learn too, because there's a lot of custom structures that Wild has implemented into the server.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
That, or it's like camps that only res in like RDO, where it's like you have to defend the camp, but they just keep it there as a structure, and I kind of love it because it does add flavor, and it's something that that is on the plains that makes the plains look a bit more lived in, compared to it just being flat and there's nothing there.
Yeah, they keep those camp shootouts. They keep some of the gang hideouts too. Some of the locations, they have two different display options. There is the base looking area, and then the gang hideout look.
Yeah,
which I think. What area?
Oh, and they have the revenue agents. They have some of those blockades as well.
Yeah, the revenue agent blockades.
Yep.
The one everyone knows probably is the one outside Saint Denis. The one leaving from that bridge. That's a revenue agent block right there.
Yep.
I would say that one, and the one going from Hennigan's into Tall Trees,
and the one in the Heartlands too.
The Heartlands
one.
Yeah.
That one in the center there. There's a lot of them spread.
There's a lot of them.
It's cool, yeah, but it gives it's nice. It gives flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've gotten to the part where we're gonna ask, what does being a ranger mean to your character? Because you guys have come a long way. It's been amazing to see both of your growth, and now knowing the stories that you've experienced on a previous server that you've then carried over into Wild. It's like you guys are up there in the ranks. There's an example to be set, and people are watching you all the time. So, what does it mean to you guys now?
Hey, don't mute up. This is your. This is your question, bro. Your answer, man, bro. All right.
What, did he mute himself? I wasn't watching. For context, Macho just muted himself. Maybe because they're jackhammering or something at his house.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I already forgot about that. We were flip flopping, so I was just like, I was waiting for him, and then I seen it. I was like, "Man, what's this guy doing?" More so,
yeah, it was.
It's
it
more
was
so-
the construction shit.
oh, okay. I'll do it real fast. It's not what the Rangers, it's not what it means to Deuce. It's more of what the Rangers gave to him. Like he's told a fair amount of people now. There was real no he had no real purpose in life, and it's kind of just like a vagabond or a drifter. He had no real purpose in anything he did. It was just there as a means to an end, a way to eat. And came a point in time where again he looked and said, "I got to make a decision." Yeah, he made it, and here he is as a game warden, and being given that chance to step up into that position. Out of character, it was awesome. It's pretty cool. But then it allowed me in character to say, okay, now there's shit I got to do, and set a standard of precedence. Give him purpose and meaning in everything he does now. So that is a little change in the question, but I don't have an answer to the original question. It's more of what have the Rangers given my character, and that's what it is.
For me, personally, for my character, Bear is a really old character. I don't think I'm wrong on this. I believe he's the oldest Ranger in the actual Corps. Not in terms of being in the Rangers, but in terms of actual age. Right now, he's sitting around 66, I believe.
Damn.
Yeah, he's up there. He's kind of a miracle he's even still walking, but he's lived a very long, grueling, and frankly very depressing life. And he coming off the heels of the end of our roleplay in Western, it was kind of a deviation from who he was and who he like pretended he was on that server. In my mind, I've never really said it out loud, but I've always compared him to like Kratos, not in terms of like the physique and God of War stuff, but in terms of the past of like war and destruction and taking, and kind of trying to reconcile that and trying to be more giving with like near the end of his life. Because when Bear first joined the server, you may remember this, Andy, he was very like
Buzz hated him.
Yeah,
Buzz hated him. He was like, "Hey, we should do it this way." And it's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, he was a know-it-all. He was a loner. He never wanted to talk to anybody. He found a service that didn't involve him shooting people or sending people to prison, and he stuck with that. And over time, he slowly opened himself up to the idea of getting closer with his Rangers and giving himself more responsibility. Like he was given senior by Frankie Bright, who was played by Leah, and that made him open up a little bit more to the idea of being a leader within the Rangers. It opened him up to taking on more responsibility in terms of like what is it? Like personal projects, being more communicative with people, more approachable. Because I mean, people think Bear is not approachable now. I mean, if they saw him 10 months ago, they wouldn't fucking speak to him. Yeah,
honestly, 10 months ago, the three of us could have just stood on the porch and communicated in a series of grunts and clicks, and we would have understood each other. And meanwhile, everyone else is like, "What the hell are they doing?"
Yeah, and as he's gone further up in the ranks and he's gotten to know more Rangers, he's opened himself up to being a wise teacher and the Rangers is something that he can't imagine not having anymore, because for a long while he had no purpose, similar to Deuce, and he found that purpose, and he found purpose in something that isn't shooting or putting away or taking or stealing or robbing or whatever, and just helping. I think that's really I think the arc I've had for him as a character, especially from where he started out on Western and where he is now on Wild, it's night and day.
Mm-hmm. It's basically the same. Yeah. Well, not exactly the same, but similar.
It's a little different. The rough path is similar, but the little side trails are different.
Yeah.
What I love at least on an OOC level is like there can be people, sadly, there are going to be cliques anywhere you go. You may have like a really great new character that you unleashed upon the crossing on the server, and there are just people that are like, I know, or they have enough people that they interact with, and trying to get one more in to like ride out and see them and spend time with them, sometimes it just becomes a little bit daunting, or it's just a little too much. Like people just don't have enough time on the server to actually do it. And so I do love the fact that the Rangers have almost become this. It's not like a place for wayward souls or anything, but it almost feels that way, where it's like people should know on an OOC level, if you can't get your character into stories, or people just aren't telegramming you, or people just aren't, you can't find people, or you can always just try to join the Rangers, and there are people just waiting that the second you show up, they're like, hey, who are you? What's your name? What do you do? Oh, you do this? All right. Hey, let's get on horses. Let's go this way. Let's go do this. We really kind of throw you right into the thick of it. And I love it. I feel like it's a pillar of the community in Wild, that people could always come to us if they need something, or if they want to get a character going, they can always start with us. I'm pretty sure same thing, extends to the medics. Law is a little bit more difficult because you have to, well, I think now we have to get almost an interview for all three or something. There's something in there now, which luckily I bypassed back in the day because they didn't have any of that. So I don't know if they would have let me in the Rangers by now. That's one thing to look back on. Like, would I have actually made it?
Yeah, Preacher could speak on this. Yeah, didn't you have an interview for the medical team for your med character?
Yes, I did.
They wanted to make sure there was no corruption, right?
That's the real big thing there, because some people don't realize the power that corruption, what it can really do. It can damn near, destroy an entire organization. Just everything that they built up. It's happened before. I've seen it. The three of us have seen it.
Yeah.
And just destroys damn near everything. Of course, it can be rebuilt, but damn, it really like, you want to talk about a gut punch, you talk about that right there. Mm-hmm. So they just want to make sure you have an understanding of before you think of any sort of corruption, anything like that, you need to make sure it's right and it's fair, I think. So
that was the real yeah. I know at one point there was about 2 or 3 medics who left the medical group to start almost not a rival medical team out in the desert, but they were going to offer better services to criminals and stuff out there, which is almost like you're taking away roleplay. So no, we're not doing that. And they were operating outside of the medical board's, specifics. So that got squashed pretty quick. So some people thought, oh, this would be great for roleplay, but other times it's like, no, don't think so. So it's kind of just the way it goes. So given all the stuff we do, whether it's search and rescue, special projects, patrols, convoys up to Coulter to rebuild Coulter, or water transports and stuff. What's your favorite part of being a ranger?
definitely definitely everything involving the nature aspect, like going out there and being in the wilderness doing something, whether it be researching animals or looking for herbs or just doing basic search and rescues. I mean, the transports and stuff, the patrols we do for the medical team and other people and stuff like that. That's all good. Like I like that stuff, but like the bread and butter of Rangers is nature and animals, and that is probably my favorite aspect. Mainly because it was my favorite aspect even before getting on the server, like everything involving the animals and the map. So that'd be my answer on that.
My favorite aspect of rangering is probably the little events. It's pretty cool to see what people can come up with, and then all the planning that goes into it, all the telegram sent, the talks, the paperwork for it, seeing it all come together for one day in particular, and for it to go pretty good, pretty well. It was pretty nice to see all of that, and that's probably my favorite aspect of the Ranger Corps. Just everyone coming together, putting their hand in the basket in an effort to carry that basket to its destination. I think that's the probably the coolest part of the Ranger Corps, and yeah, you really can't find it anywhere else if you ask me.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. It is great, and it's great to track it, you know, because a lot of it, we try to steer people in the right direction, and it's not, some people may think, oh, they're chewing me out, or, oh, they just want their idea instead, but it's like, we're trying to set you up for success so that this thing goes off without a hitch, you know, just so that there, you know, on the day, there are no hiccups, you know, and so that's kind of at least what we strive for. I'm definitely agree about the whole nature aspect. I start to play it lately. Once I stepped into Head Ranger, I've been looking at, like, I think I talked about this with PB&J Lee last night. It's there was a TV show on HBO called Carnival, and it took place during the Dust Bowl and things like that. It was a time in America, and we've hit it now in 1901 in Wild, even though it's an alternate universe and stuff. But it's the time when mysticism and legends and lore and, you know, fantasy was being pushed aside by science, and this feeling of nature, like, as rangers, you know, we look at what a ranger is on the server, and in 50, maybe 40 years time, we're going to be people that are just in a tower looking over this vast vista, looking for wildfires. You know, we're going to know where the poisonous mushrooms are and where bear dens are and things like that, but we're going to be so regulated by the government. It's like we have such our time is we're quickly reaching obsolescence because the world is still growing. You know, the paths between Blackwater and Strawberry are soon going to be cement or asphalt, you know, and there isn't going to be, you know, wolves aren't going to want to walk on asphalt, you know, so they're not going to come near the roads. The smell of it is just going to drive them away deeper into the woods. And our time is near an end. And I've been trying to kind of play that as, but like watching this corporatization of an organization that is most of us are free spirits, you know, like we actively ride out into danger. You know, at every turn, we kill more things than law in a day, you know, and suddenly watching this it's slowly going to get whittled away. It's frightening. And there's, you know, and, you know, me being like a bit of a history buff, it's like there's no escaping it, but Buzz is never going to embrace it either. He's just watching it happen and it's scaring him, that kind of thing. That's where I'm at. So what frustrates you both the most when being a ranger?
Well, as everyone probably else says, when people continuously FA quit, come back in, call for help again.
I was gonna say that shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the most frustrating thing, but that's sort of like an out of character thing. It's just like, God damn you.
Yeah.
But in character, it's probably, well, as I've said this morning, you know, everyone acting like a bunch of sissies, you know. It really doesn't frustrate me. It's just like that's the in character thing. It's really grinding my gears. So it's like an in character and out of character sort of deal. Like, this is what I really don't like out of character. This is what frustrates me out of character.
Yeah. And
when I'm in character, this is what frustrates me in character. But it doesn't really. Anything in character doesn't affect me out of character. To tell you the truth, I'm like, funny enough, 9 times out of 10, I can guarantee you, if I'm having a serious scene, I'm probably, and I'm not speaking or doing anything, and it's 9 times out of 10, I'm probably laughing when I'm mute. Just because of like something funny, like somebody will do like a slash me, like endos when they're trying to nod. just it cracks me up.
Oh my god! When we interviewed, what was her name? The character. It was who? It was very recent. It was like a few days ago.
Whoa, Cody.
We interviewed. Me, Bear and Deuce were getting ready to interview Cody, and she went to go sit down on a bench.
Oh, I know.
And I think she got a little mixed up, and she typed slash me first. So me Bear and Deuce are they're getting this interview ready, and out of the corner of our eye we just see sit 4 appear.
And again, that's no knock to anyone. It's just funny.
No, it's so fucking funny.
Oh, there are times I've tried to do a detail. Stuff. Yeah, I tried to do a detail and I just slash me, and I'm like, yep, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, he like the moment it happened, I got a DM from Preacher that was just it was just ha 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 over and over again in all caps. Like the moment it happened, like there's maybe a 5-second interval between the sit 4 appearing and that DM hitting me. It was crazy.
For anyone watching right now or listening, anytime if you see Deuce or Bear type an emote shudders, that is them losing it IRL. I do know that.
Yeah.
I do know that. So
when one of us says something that is like an inside joke between us, or someone does something that is, what do we usually do it on? Yeah, foolish. Like like if someone's like, if someone's phone goes off like while they're talking, like that shit happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
One of us will just go shivers. The other one will shiver. We'll just shiver.
Oh, shivers. Yeah. Not shudders. Yeah, shivers. There we go.
Like we used to have it like again back in the old days. We would literally like take our character, move it right in front of the other one, and just have them look them dead in the eyes and just type it out. We don't do that anymore. We just kind of just type it out because it's funny. I remember the real big one that was killing me, man. I just couldn't stop laughing. It was at that Ranger meeting we had at what was it, Buzzard's Bluff or something?
Oh yeah.
When Gat was trying to speak, or Floral, when she was trying to speak, her big old dog was going all crazy, and you could hear it. And I was just, I typed it out real fast, and I was just dying, man. It's hilarious. I find it funny. Again, that's no knock to anybody. We all do it. I do it too. It's just anything really in character, because again, I'm playing a really mean, stern old man. I don't mean any of it, to tell you the truth. And it shouldn't be that way, where I mean it in character. And I never will. It's a video game. And
yeah, none of this shit should be taken seriously or out of character. We are role playing grumpy old men who are like one bad day away from just saying fuck it and walking into the woods, climbing a tree and jumping off it, you know? So we try to take flight or something. I mean, we role play as grumpy people. It doesn't mean we are grumpy people.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just had
Speak for yourselves, but I channel my IRL grumpiness into Buzz. No, I'm kidding.
We're not. We've got a solid like 10 years before we get the actual grumpies.
Yeah.
Me and Preacher.
You have so much to look forward to.
We do.
Not really. Not really. Not really.
The biggest frustration for me, probably, would be the same as Preacher's. I despise when people they think that relogging and putting the search out there again is helping, when all it's doing is making our job harder. Because when you first do that relog and you come back in, your horse despawns. The horse is like the #1 thing we look for when we're looking for injured people. Like I would say 8 times out of 10, the first thing you see when on a search and rescue is a horse. And when you take that and you get rid of it, it makes our job 10 times harder. So you may think you're helping by letting us know that you're still out there waiting, but it's not helping. Especially if now I don't know if it's ever happened. Deep down, I feel like it may have, but I feel as though that we have been close to finding somebody one time, and they did not realize how close we were. So they decided to relog and then log back in to put out another call for help. And in that time between them logging off and them logging back in, we may have been within voice range of them, or we may have rode by where they were and we missed them because they decided to relog. Now, I don't know if that's ever happened, but it's something that I feel like could happen.
Oh no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, probably does happen. And it's just like, but then, oh well. No matter how many times we say it, people are still, it's going to happen regardless.
And
I think
there's still people that think that the call for help is like an instant save. Like they think that the Rangers are like given a pinpoint location of where they're at, and when we don't show up in 10 minutes, they get pissed and they just respawn at the shelter.
Yeah.
I had that happen. I had that happen to me a few months ago, where I was looking for somebody that had got downed, just outside Strawberry. I went looking for them. I find them come out of the medical office, and they curse at Bear. They tell him he sucks at his job, and that it's Bear's fault that they lost everything because I didn't find them in time. When there was about a 10-minute window between that call for help and them respawning.
Ouch. Yeah.
So
that's just
so that was
just
pretty great.
tasteless. I mean, a lot of it is like
it makes you wonder what part of that is in character and what part of that is out of character, you know?
Yeah, but it's like if your stuff is so valuable to you, you need to stick it out. Clearly your stuff wasn't of value to you if you're so ready to respawn. So that's on them. Yeah. No, I mean, some of the time, like, people will wait 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and we've either just gotten back from another one, or we're still mustering, or we're still going out there. Like, if it's like a Northern Roanoke one, and we're in Strawberry, it's like, that still takes, like, sometimes 10 minutes to get everybody together and actually leave town. And then there's another 5 to 10 minutes of actually riding there, so we're already 20 minutes into it. Sometimes we're lucky. Other times it's... if you're patient, you know, if you understand, or the thing is, you know, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, you know. So if you're not ready to stick it out, don't call for help and just recover. Just recover at a shelter. I honestly, what I think, when we have the numbers, we're just about having the numbers where we could send 5 people out on a search and rescue. And then we could send somebody to where people would recover. So if it's like Grizzlies East, we would send somebody down to Emerald Ranch, and they would wait to see if the person respawns, so that we would actually know if locals pick them up. Like, that would be pretty amazing. Or if Spider Gorge, you know, we keep somebody down at Coulter and we watch to see if they actually respawn, because that would save a lot of time, actually a ton of time. So that's my theory. That's what I'd love to try.
Just
kind of a hypocrite.
Genuinely unserious. Genuinely unserious if you're not willing to wait at least a week before.
A week.
There was when the frontier had just opened up. I saved a deputy out there in the western part of the frontier. This is when it was still pretty new. It was like a day after, and it wasn't Rip. It was someone else. Found him somehow. Brought him back. I started hauling ass back to Coulter, and I got to the edge of a glacier, and I fell all the way down. And it's one you can get down, but at the time I don't think anybody knew you could get down them. And I waited there for a solid while, like it had to have been like 2 or 3 hours. And I was just like so defeated at the end. I was like, damn. And I ended up respawning anyway. So funny enough, that shotgun, Old Painless, that's probably the one that
It's like version 5.
It is, yeah, actually, it is version 3. It is version 3. First one I lost when I respawned. The second one I sold recently because it was, I'm kind of in the phase of, I want my weapons to be clean. So the second one was etched Old Painless with my telegram on it. And I was like, nah, it don't look right. So I sold that one. And then the third one I now have, which is just Old Painless. And it's clean. Those 3 shotguns, none of them are the same. Just none of them are. They're 3 completely different shotguns because I do not remember like what the original one looked like. So it was pretty funny. I don't know why I brought that up, to tell you the truth. Oh, it's because we were talking about people respawning and then I did it. Yeah.
So Madam did have another question from earlier. Since Rangers get robbed and or taken as a hostage, what is something that you really wanted to do to get revenge but couldn't because of restrictions of being a Ranger? This is good. This is juicy.
Really wanted
shooting them dead.
Yeah, that's about as simple as it gets, to tell you the truth. I've already gotten revenge, if you will, when I was kidnapped by the Quills, in which
how did you get revenge?
It's not so much revenge, it's more of like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not really the sort of like vengeance and revenge kind of guy. I'm whatever. But essentially, I kind of just manned up and told him, hey, no one really cares about your story that you're telling us. You're here for a reason, and it was opportune at the time. No one really cares about your old saw Wild West story, and save it for someone else. And that was basically the entire ride, in which I was on the back of someone's horse and they kept trying to talk to Deuce like they were friends. Terrible mistake. Deuce is not your friend. He's going to tell you to shut up each and every single time. He is not there to make friends. He's just there because
a lot of people tend to mistake our kindness for weakness, and then they suddenly think, oh, we just had to do that. It's like, you just had to put my life in danger where I could have gotten killed because of some stupid idea you wanted to have. Like, no. There need to be icy actions have icy consequences. And so if I had my way, I would lasso Zip Quill, and I would take him all the way up to the top of the western frontier, drop him off, untie him, get on my horse, and ride away. So he'd have to just walk all the way back. Just think about what he's done. That's what I do. Or anybody that like robs us, or anybody that, kidnaps us, things like that. That would be my little icing. Maybe I'd shoot them in the foot so that they're bleeding and they have to walk even slower or something. You
can't beat like a good old fashioned just gunshot, like truly, because a majority of the criminals they pride, like in character, they pride themselves on being shootist, and they see anybody that isn't law or other criminals as just kind of fodder. Like they are background. The foreground is me and law, and that's about it. But And it would be very just fulfilling. Just like these robbers or these criminals expecting a ranger to be easy pickings, and then out of nowhere they pull out some John Wick ass shit and just gun them down. No consequence, no shot fired on them, and just show them that, like, even if we are in a service role where we are passive and we aren't allowed to engage in fights, that we still know what we're doing. Like, this was a few months ago. This would have been like in February, but I was at Emerald Station as Bear, and I was writing a long telegram. I had like $200 on me and my pistol. Sheriff Cash came up. Who plays Cash?
Albie.
I can't.
Albie GG.
Albie. Mm-hmm. Sheriff Cash came up, and he was doing the same thing. He was just writing a telegram, and these two robbers came up on both sides of the telegram station, and they told us that we were fixing to be robbed. And, you know, Sheriff Cash being a sheriff, he's trying to negotiate with them. He's trying to say, like, well, I'll give you my guns, but don't take this guy's, or I'll give you all my cash and guns, don't take this guy's, and they're not having it. And the entire time, Bear is telling him, he's telling Cash over and over again at like a whisper. He's like, "You give me the word, and I'll pull iron on these boys with you." And like just over and over again, just let them know, like, hey, I'm not just someone you have to protect. Like, I can actually, we can do this together. But we didn't end up going that route. He played it, you know, the smart way, and just, you know, we actually got our stuff took, and I didn't see that gun for like 2 months. That gun went between.
Was that Coloradus? What was that one?
Yeah, Mongus Coloradus.
I remember that.
That's when Mongus got took. But I've definitely played Bear that way, to where he doesn't want people to expect him to be weak. Like when what's the character's name? He got executed like a month or two back. Bastards.
Oh,
Charles Devine.
Yeah.
Charles Devine. Who plays him?
Was that Saab?
Is it John Dabrowski?
Saab,
I thought.
Saab? Okay.
No, maybe. I can't remember. Yeah.
I think they're in the same gang, but not the same person. But yeah, he that was when we had Clementine and the Rangers. Clementine had beef with like every criminal in the world for no reason, and he comes to our lodge, and he just starts trash talking Rangers, trash talking Clementine, saying that we better watch ourselves. And Bear just got fed up and said, "What are you gonna do about it? Like, what, genuinely? Like, you gonna back up that talk?" And then one thing went to another, and then fucking Ranger Bear Walker and wanted criminal Charles Devine are having a fucking fist fight in front of the Ranger cabin. And I think it's good.
I did love,
now and then.
yeah. The taste in which you did it, where you said, are we gonna keep yapping, or are we gonna settle this like men? And meanwhile, everybody else is thinking, oh my God, they're gonna shoot it out. But it's like, no, you put your fists up and you had an actual fist fight. And I was like, that's good. That's good shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you had he was like a sliver of health. I'm pretty sure he was scared. He was scared. Yeah.
I watched his stream back, and he was one hit away from being incapped. And after the fight, he was like, he had me. He one hit and I was done. Like he like out of character, he's saying like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. And then in character, he goes, oh, you got easy piece of cake. No problem. Yeah. That's what I do to Rangers.
Honestly, if you had one, we would have all gotten gunned down. Just saying.
Yeah, it's a miracle I didn't win, because then all of his crew would have ended up shooting me, and then everyone else, and then Bear probably would have got fucking charged with vigilantism and got kicked out of the Rangers, and we wouldn't have what we have today. So it's good. I think it was the best case scenario. It showed that the Rangers aren't just pushovers, but you know.
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to do a lot more. The real big breakthrough I had, and shit, I'm blanking now with names. Oh shit. Uh-oh. What's his name? Magley. we had like a fake tip come in, bringing these 3 folks back. Strawberry, Cat lets Megley's character get on the back of his horse.
Oh, Mitch.
Second I seen that, it wasn't Mitch. It was
What?
someone else.
Oh.
It was Megley's character. Got on the back of Cat's horse. Second I seen that, I already knew what was going on. I was like, oh shit. Just continued riding a little bit. Put the gun to her back. Had to start saying all this, and that's when I was like, okay, this is finally happening after so long. I finally have something like this where I can just start being a real like pillar. Said, and I took control of that situation. I said, hey, this is me. And thankfully, nobody got shot. Negotiated everything down. Basically, took that situation out of their hands and manipulated it to where we got off with just the money taken from us, which we had them outnumbered. We didn't really have to give them anything, but I didn't want to get anyone into a gunfight. I would have absolutely loved a gunfight there, but nah. Not everyone's a fan of gunfights.
Isn't that the worst? Yeah, that's the worst feeling, where it's like, I want to shoot you down so bad, but nobody else wants to.
Yeah, but Megley being there was, thank you, finally giving me that breakthrough that character needed, because he was talking about all this, but it's never happened, and he never had a chance to prove himself.
Yeah,
in that sort of situation, and it finally happened, and it's been going good ever since. And there's no real revenge, that like real crazy plan. It'd be more of just frontier justice. It's more of, I'm going to show you what a mountain man can do to another man.
Yeah.
So that sort of deal. That's all it would be. Like a shooting or a scalping or something like that.
Now, Dr. Chuckles came in and asked, if you had absolute creative control, what would you like to see the Rangers have to improve the Rangers as a role and as an official agency?
Maxim gun.
Which will get taken from us all the time. I mean, what would we need it for?
Have you not seen the Predator? Yeah, exactly. The Predator gift where everyone's mowing down the forest. Come on, that'd be sick. It just seems like you take like the Shadow of Lemoyne situation, bring it back,
just stick down the jungle,
and then we just mow tall trees down or something.
Part of me thinks I would love to see how the Rangers would operate out of Fort Wallace as like our main headquarters, because that place is like a village in and of itself, and that would be, I don't know, if we had the tip line plus a telegram installed there with the lockable front gate and then lockable doors for all the smaller offices and stuff, I think that would just be, it would be beautiful. It feels like it keeps in line with the Rangers, because we aren't supposed to go into town all the time, and having this outpost where people would have to come to us and find us, that kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like it's like the root of the Rangers, we're supposed to be out in the wild all the time. So having our main base in like Strawberry is kind of like, meh. Granted, we would have to deal with a lot of Valentine debauchery of people, working their way up out of Valentine to come pester us. But I would like that. I would also love, which I think would be hilarious, hot air balloons for some search and rescues. I think that would be so funny.
Hot air balloons, dude.
Oh, going up to the frontier, like you'd be able to see people a lot easier with a hot air balloon. Oh, it'd be so hilarious.
It would make searching the Heartlands a whole lot easier.
Yeah. I think that would be so great.
We'd have a Ripley situation on our hands real fast. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, we'll have a Ranger perma by falling out the fucking hot air balloon.
Yep.
It'd be awesome. In terms of that question, if I had full creative direction, the only real things I can think of is maybe expanding the Rangers just a tad bit, sort of in the direction of Either like start putting their hands in like what game wardens actually do in real life, monitor and hunting and all that.
Yeah.
Which it wouldn't fit the timeline, and I'm not advocating for it, but that's like one of the only ways I can see, or sort of diverting them towards Texas Rangers, genuine Texas Rangers, sort of pushing them in that direction, not overtaking law, but being there to assist. That's the only kind of like real directions I see. Is where the Rangers are at right now, I don't think there's a change needed.
We have a pretty good balance as is.
I see. So if we were
There's
able to
no
find people, like people that did, that were baiting and stuff like that, we could probably, that would be funny.
Oh, I just call them cowards.
Or that.
Yeah.
I call them cowards. So there's already that. Again, in character.
Right.
So has there been? Oh, go.
No, I was just gonna go back to the Fort Wallace thing. I remember you telling me a long time ago that you really like the idea of the Rangers being like this kind of like mystical organization or group that no one ever really sees.
Mm-hmm.
Like you only ever see them out in the woods, and very rarely they get their tip line. They go out there, they find people, they take them to town, and they just leave.
Yeah.
You never see them in town wandering about. You never see them doing anything. The only time you ever see them is when you're in need of help, and they save you, they drop you off, and they just wander off.
Yeah.
And I feel like with us not having an outpost in town, like with Fort Wallace, it really is perfect because it has that central office with I believe in the single player it's the captain's office.
Mm-hmm.
That you need to like.
Yeah, it's got the
like,
American flag behind it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They have stables. They have
An armory.
They have an armory. They have a jail cell.
Yep.
Which I don't know if we need a jail cell or not. But,
Yeah, we do.
For
fun,
just
for recruits.
Yeah,
we leave them in the brig for like a day.
Yep. Just see how they act in enclosed spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Because we will have to do spelunking. Yeah, there are some missions we have
Uh-huh.
to go out and there's spelunking involved. So we're going to see how you deal with in a very small area.
Right. But it's a cool idea, but it wouldn't really add to our roleplay too much.
Yeah, that
it
and
would definitely take away.
yeah. Just it would seem more like a cult than an actual government organization. So
It's kind of like the ideal situation that Rangers from a year ago imagine when the roster was 15 total, and everybody, they went through that 2 to 3 month recruit process, so they knew a lot of things. We couldn't do that now. There's too many of us.
Yeah.
The hurdle you have to jump over to become a Ranger now is much lower than it used to be. So you wouldn't have that mystical illusion about who's saving you, Like it wouldn't be a knight in shining armor. It would be somebody tripping over a log and finding you by accidentally landing on top of you, But that's it's expected with growth, especially with how much we've grown.
Oh yeah.
What a good problem to have.
I think I haven't actually counted it. I used to keep track of it now. Not anymore. They were probably getting damn close to 100, if not already there.
Has there been a particular story arc that you two have enjoyed so far, or you've enjoyed the most?
I've already forgot the flip-flop order. I would tell you the truth.
We've been going out of order so much. You want to go?
You go. No, you go on, bro. Go on.
Okay. Particular character arc. The first one that comes to mind is the kind of like September to December era that I had with Bear, where it kind of started with him being mauled by that bear in tall trees, being out there for 3 days, and kind of going on a like a spiritual journey almost.
Oh, when you went up
He-
and worked with Hyro and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I took a few days up at Topoda. I spent a lot of time with Hyro, Sakala, Charlie, a little bit of Kiono too. I got to know how they do things, what they do, meditation spots, and that really opened up Bear from being kind of the shut-in, doing what needs to be done and nothing much more than that, to really wanting to expand himself and become more than what he was. And not every story is going to have an upward trajectory in terms of character growth, because Bear definitely stooped down during the whole Mason James situation. He was on the up, and then Mason James came around in, I believe, like October, right? October, November.
Yeah, around there, I think.
Mhm. And Bear didn't really have the concept of using his own to not taking law into his own hands, because all he heard of was this person going out torturing his rangers, and his main goal was to find Mason James and kill him, which is not something that aligns with who the Rangers are and what the Rangers do. And I think genuinely the lowest point that Bear's ever been in terms of being a Ranger, is when I think it was like 4 or 5 of us were riding out. I know you were there. We had to stop because someone accidentally disconnected, or they didn't disconnect, but they got red-emmed. And a Bear was speaking to Buzz, like telling Buzz, like, we've got to do something. Like, genuinely, we've got to do something. Like, we can't just let Law do this. Like, if we get a chance, we have to take care of him. And Buzz was telling Bear, like, that's not what the poncho stands for. And then Bear told Buzz, fuck the poncho.
Yeah, that was... Ooh.
Yeah, that
That hurt.
was probably the lowest Bear had ever gotten. He told Buzz, fuck the poncho. And for the next week, he worked with, I believe it was after Joey got grabbed. He worked with Hummingbird, who was played by...
Endangered Finley.
He worked with Hummingbird, and they tried to set up a trap for Mason James just outside Strawberry. And while Bear and Hummingbird were waiting, Buzz Buxton decided to take a path that he usually does not take at all back to Strawberry. And he came right upon Bear in a bush, waiting out Mason James. And he told Bear, like, me and you have got a long talk. Like, me and you have a lot of things to talk about. And they ended up on that back porch. And that talk really could have gone either way. Like, it was... In the beginning, it leaned towards Bear was fixing to get his green stripped and be kicked out of the Rangers because he wants to pursue Mason James so badly. But then, as the conversation went on, it turned itself around, and Buzz convinced Bear and showed him that the time and effort that he puts into the Rangers as a Ranger, doing the things that Rangers do and helping his friends instead of having to go out and kill people in the name of them, is that's not the way it needs to be done. And the way Bear needs to help is by being there and being a constant pillar to lean on. And eventually ended up, there was 3 Game Wardens at the time, and Bear seemed like the one that was most likely gonna go out and fucking get himself stripped of the green and get caught trying to kill Mason James. And it ended up being the complete opposite, where Bear was the one who stayed true with the Rangers, and Nathan and Isla were the ones who went out and took the matter into their own hands. Less Nathan, but still involved.
Yeah. Still withholding
And
information.
And from there, it just... Bear went from being, I'm going to deal with the problem directly, to I'm gonna keep doing my job and being a show of force in terms of lawfulness and being there for my fellow ranger and not going out and trying to be some vigilante. That's been my favorite one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the favorite character arc was sort of the stagnant and the build up sort of deal. When I got into the Rangers, I was gonna play Deuce just like Bear, the quiet guy. Didn't like anyone. He's there only for a job and nothing more, nothing less, And really detestable, real lazy. Just nobody really liked him. He was just there. And that's how it was for the first couple of months. Just sat on the porch. Every now and again I'd do something.
I think you'd walk from one end of the porch to the other. That was the thing you did.
Yeah, I did nothing. And that's kind of how I played him. Just to be the real quiet guy. I wouldn't say a word to anyone. And if he did, it was like, I'm going out to this place for this search and rescue. You come along or don't. That was all. And like Macho had mentioned, that whole situation involving Nathan, Isla, and Jackson, when they all took off and news broke out to everyone in the crossing of what had occurred and what happened and how the Rangers were involved, that was a real low point. I was like 3 uppercuts and then one real nasty gut punch. I mean, the Rangers were in a terrible spot when that had occurred. And at the time, it was only you and Bear. The real seniors around. The other 3 had, just not showing up, not being there. And it was a real low point for the Ranger Corps, and there's not many people wanting to step up. Nobody, actually. And I figured, you know what? Let's make something happen. Let's see what we can do. And that's sort of where the stagnant little arc there ended, and that's where the build up, the real, okay, let's get something done here. Let's do stuff. Let's put things together. Let's get things going. Let's sort of build up a meaning to my name, so when people see that name, they're like, he's the real deal. And that's kind of what it was for like the next couple of months, just him taking himself seriously, being there for others, being the senior, finding himself, really taking in strides, sort of getting into this new role. And then it just kept going and going. He kept building upon it to the point where he can no longer build upon it because there's no higher point than he can go. He's truly gained everything. Now it's more of maintaining and continuing to be there for the Ranger Corps itself. And every little thing he does, if it ain't for the Ranger Corps or for someone, well, actually, I said that wrong. If it's not for the Ranger Corps, it's usually for someone specific. And if it's not for someone specific, it's for the Ranger Corps. That's what I meant to say. He never does things for himself. Not anymore. And seeing how where he once was, where he came from, to his mindset now and where he sits, it's just like night and day, really. Again, it just shows that people can change if and you want your character to change, that is. And I think that the little stagnant period arc and then the build-up arc were probably the best. Just seeing those two, just like a flip of a switch overnight, just completely different man. And then, well, he's here now. I think that was my favorite sort of.
You surprised so many people. Just suddenly, like, yeah, flip of a switch, just like there is a need and I'm here to fill that need. And just stepped up, suddenly got senior, started doing everything, and then immediately it was in the running for Game Warden. Like it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing to see. I think it helped, lay the foundation for a lot of other people. You know, they were able to see that transition and go, oh, I should work on that as well. You know, it's not just about I get to clock in and go find people that are hurt and then just go back and it's like, no, there's a whole element of generating RP for others and building first on your own story, but also being able to help others push their story along.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I see him now, where I see Deuce. He's more of a quest giver now than anything. I rarely ever delegate myself something on like a project. I'm mainly there to oversee it and to pick up slack if needed. But I will hand stuff out to people like, hey, you take care of this, you talk to these people, you do that, do this, yada, yada, yada. Sort of like a boss. But one thing that I've kind of allowed or sort of set for myself is he will never tell somebody to do something that he hasn't done before. That's kind of the one real kicker there. And he's like a big quest giver now. He likes to I like to at least give people something to do. Say, hey, I'm working on this. Maybe you could help me on this project, or I know this person's working on this. Maybe that'll interest you. Or just a lot of different things. It's my story with this character, but everyone that has put a hand in it, it's their story too. Seeing what they've done to change this man to where he is now, I think it's pretty nice to see, and just being able to push people forward. Say,
yeah,
being able to like, okay, like Justine, this is a real good one, man. I was so happy with this. She was able, like Justine, for the longest time, just didn't really have that confidence, and I kept trying to tell her, like, hey, you got it in you. You know, you've done it before. And then the opportunity presented itself with that damn culture rebuild. It's like, oh, there it is. That's what we need right there. And then I remember that night I told her, it was just me and her. And I told her, hey, you're going to be leading this. So that's what I want you to do. Get in touch with Allegra. You two work on this. Boom. And now she's senior because she finally did it. And she now has that swagger, if you will.
Epic.
And that was real cool to see. And I've done it several times now, and it's pretty happy with it. So that's kind of where Deuce is at now. He's more of a leader and a quest giver. That's where I see him.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely. Now, we have hit the lightning round, guys. There are going to be a couple quick fire questions here, but for fun. All right. So, what is your favorite place for search and rescue?
In terms of easiness, Great Plains.
Northern Great Plains.
Northern Great Plains and Southern Great Plains, because there's only really two spots that you need to check. And I mean, if it's not one of them, it's not like the search region is all that big. It's a fairly small area in comparison to the rest of the map, and it's open. It's really open. So there's no place where someone can just be, behind a tree somewhere. I mean, it's in the name, Great Plains.
Yep.
But other than the Great Plains, I would probably say New Austin. Like anywhere out in New Austin.
Snooze fest.
Tall trees is okay, but I mean, dealing with grizzlies and wolves and the occasional cougar, I mean, no one wants to deal with that. But when
a little snooze fest,
dude, snooze fest. All right, open your front door right now. But New Austin, definitely. Gaptooth, Cholo Springs, Rio Bravo. You don't see them too often, so when you get them, you're like, ooh, I want to go check that out.
Tall trees, 100% tall trees. No question about it.
Most favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
There's just the music that, thank you, Macho, that he's provided me adds the tension, the atmosphere to the searches.
You got me wanting to switch my answer.
Every twist and turn, there's something there. A badger, wolf, bear, cougar, crazy person. There's something there. The atmosphere, and you usually don't know what you're going to get. 3 separate occasions, I've got 3 different things. Southern Tall Trees, I thought it was Bear Town. It actually turned out to be 2 people slamming horses into each other for whatever reason. One Northern Tall Trees I got was not a bear attack, but it was actually someone who flipped over a log, and apparently that bear punched them and then had someone standing over them being creepy. That was that whole little Frankie sort of arc there that I ran into. And then most recently we had that sort of like little puzzle that we put together where we seen that group ride in through Manzanita going towards the Shine Shack, me and you and Murray, and we were like, that don't look good. And then maybe like 2 or 3 minutes later, we get a call for Northern Tall Trees, and first place we went to was that dead end encampment because, well, we seen that, and why not? And next thing you know, there's a dude boy on the ground that had been shot up pretty bad.
Dude boy.
I forget his name. Deputy,
man, how can you forget the marvelous, identifiable, most Canadian senior deputy they have?
Oh, Maple.
Oh,
Maple.
Yeah, Maple. And
everybody knows him. People don't know his name.
Not Deuce. I don't fucking Deuce don't know him. But yeah, it's just Tall Trees, without a doubt. And the only reason you don't say Tall Trees is because you don't have Old Painless. that's simply
true.
The
Yeah, maybe because I don't like dealing with grizzly bears when the main weapon I use is a bow or a single shot Springfield that for some reason takes like 7 shots to kill a grizzly. But roleplay, baby. We rocking with these old ass, untrustworthy ass weapons.
Yeah, they're like double barrel.
How do you feel about that, by the way? Both your Game Wardens, one of them uses a double barrel shotgun that at most can kill 2 wolves without needing a reload, and your other one uses a bow. Like, you know, they don't do the classic Lancaster or bolt action or Litchfield. No, they use bows.
Whatever you guys are comfortable with.
Bows. Yeah, but without a doubt.
If you have enough room in your satchel to carry 100 arrows to kill a glitched bear, then by all means, have at it. You have my blessing.
Do carry 2 stacks on me.
Yeah, yes, for the occasional glitch bear.
Always.
The real weapons we have, those are like facades. Well, the real weapons are the tomahawks.
The tomahawks, dude. We need.
You can't single shot a bear with a tomahawk anymore, can you?
It's tragic. No, you can't.
It's tragic.
God, I did that once on my Wolfkin character, and it was epic. This thing was charging me on foot, and it was inches from me when I threw that tomahawk and killed it, and the thing slid like right to my feet. It was beautiful. It felt so good. But it will
send that bear packing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what I do in Tall Trees now, because the double barrel, it surprises you sometimes. Sometimes it's hot shit, and sometimes it's pretty crazy. It's pretty cracked. Most of the time, I won't 2-shot a bear. I never will, a grizzly. But sometimes that first shot will hit it square in the face, and it'll just send it running. And I'm just like, nice. That's what I like. That's what I need more of. And then sometimes I just get thrown from my horse, and I got no choice but to figure something out before I get mauled.
Now, what is your most hated place? And now, hate's a strong word, but what is the place that you dislike the most for a search and rescue?
Scarlet Meadows. That place is so goddamn boring. I'm sorry. That place is so boring. There's just nothing cool about it. That's literally all I have for that place.
If it wasn't Scarlet Meadows, it's gonna have to be the Heartlands. I despise doing any search in the Heartlands. It sucks.
For sure.
It's like it tries to be the Great Plains, where it's, you know, oh, well, look at me, I'm flat. No,
it's the Great Hilly Plains.
Yeah, you got hilly plains. You can't see more than like half a mile at the best. The most common spots that people are getting hurt It's where rocks are at and trees, and people can get hid in, little small crevices. And then you have the railroad that people always ride on, and then they're riding with somebody else, and then they get pushed off the side and they crash in there, or maybe they're just not paying attention and they just fall off one of those bridges. I mean, it sucks. The Scarlet Meadows and Harlan's sucks. But if I had to choose one, it'd be Harlan's.
Now, you guys are going to have to dig deep for this one. Who would be your ultimate 6-person search and rescue party? And they could be any player, alive or dead, from Wild.
You have no idea how much this hypothetical has come up in mine and Preacher's conversations, like in the past few months. We are always thinking about this. Okay, so are our characters included in the dream team? Is that one?
Why
of the
not?
6?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Nah, you know what?
Right.
No. You know what? No. This could be anyone.
Let's say I'm Herd out there, right? And they have to come look for me.
Yes.
Okay. I am number 1 pick, Tibbet. That's
everyone's.
number 1
It's everyone's. Yep.
Tibbet. Second one is gonna be probably Deuce. Third one would be Alfred. Now, I haven't actually got much experience with playing with Alfred in terms of like search and rescues, so I don't know how good he is at them. But I assume that if he's working hand in hand with Tibbet on a lot of the stuff that they're doing, that he has to be able to hold his own pretty good. A 4th person.
Doesn't have to be a
alive or
ranger.
dead.
Doesn't have to be a ranger either. This could be
Doesn't have to
law.
be a
This could be a
ranger.
crim.
Doesn't have to be a ranger.
Yeah.
In terms of searching, I'm choosing. I'm choosing Mitch. I'm going with Mitch. I mean, that's a good. What do you mean it doesn't count? Anything goes.
Bruh.
Anything goes, man. Alive or dead, doesn't have to be a ranger.
Okay.
Okay. 2 more.
Who would be there for comedic relief? Like, I'm trying to think of it as like a D&D group.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's your segue. We get Buzz Buxton in there. That's our 5th. So
no, I for comedic relief, really? I would think his knowledge.
Relief.
I would think his damn knowledge got. Here we go.
Look. Buzz Buxton has a type of comedy that's like, it's like dad comedy. It's so dry that it's so unfunny that it loops around to becoming funny. Like you're on a search and rescue, right? I don't know, a fucking pine cone hit somebody. Everyone's like, "Oh, you okay? Yeah, fine." And then you got Buzz Buxton in the very back. He goes, "At least it wasn't bird shit." And then just silence from everybody for 5 seconds, and then you just have one person go, "Yeah, you're right." That's it. I mean, it's the dry humor. Like you get me and Preacher in like a fucking. You get me and him in like a funny videos compilation or something. We're not laughing at a single thing. You give us like a solid 10 seconds of somebody like, I don't know, tripping over some stairs. We're done. Especially if it's a ranger. Like imagine if we both imagine Tibbet like tripping on some stairs and face planting and then talking in her voice like, "Oh my god," it's that's what gets us going. But we're at 5. So I picked Tibbet, Alfred, Buzz, Deuce, Mitch, and I've got one more.
Anyone in the whole crossing.
Anyone in the whole crossing.
Alive or dead.
Alive or dead. Oh no, I've already got one law person. You know what? We'll go with a wild card here. We're gonna go with Joey Crawford.
We'll bring him back. Won this chalky milk and ham Sammys.
You can get his chalky milk. Is he gonna be good at finding someone? Maybe.
But he'll bring
Possibly.
food. He'll bring food for everyone.
He'll bring food. He'll probably find somebody and he'll stutter the catchphrase that we have. So instead of Saints Crossing Ranger Corps, he'll say like, Saints Crossing Corps. And then he just kind of stands around. he would be the second comedic relief we have, and not because he's funny, but because he's funny. If that makes sense. He's not a funny guy, but he's a funny guy. You know.
Fair enough.
That would be my pick. My dream team.
That is terrible. God, that is, God.
All right, Preacher, your turn.
Four of those people are Rangers, dude. Yeah. God. Okay. I'm sort of lining this up in a formation. A 6-man. Leading the charge for the Ranger Corps is Marty Malone.
Marty Malone. That's a good one.
All right, you Rangers. We're gonna find this guy.
Imagine Marty in his classic outfit, but with a fucking poncho over his shoulders.
I have no idea what you're talking about. His classic outfit. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Classic outfit meaning black coat and a tie.
Oh, is this going to be Preacher's thing? Everybody in the search and rescue party is going to have a tie.
Ooh, there you go.
That's a good idea, but I only really know like Marty and me, to tell you the truth. I don't know anyone else that wears a tie. So let's see. Marty's leading the charge. We need to have a solid core of 4 people. We need to have that's tough. I don't know if you've ever met him, but Sheriff Holt.
Uh-huh.
He seemed like a no-nonsense kind of guy all the time. 100%. So I would say Sheriff Holt to keep everyone in check. Everyone in line. Another person. 2. Let's go ahead and bring a doc. We need to bring
Hell yeah, bring a medic. Hell yeah.
Yeah, bring the medic of the North with us, Clyde.
Ooh, all right.
So that's 3. We at least need 1 ranger in there so that that group gets to actually where they need to get going. I would have to bring along what's that one really dead ranger that nobody really knows? I just can't think of the name.
Really dead ranger that nobody knows.
There's a few.
You say the wrong name there, you're gonna ruffle a few feathers.
Frankie? No.
Yeah, no one fucking knows Frankie.
Buried up at Brandywine.
Oh, Camino.
Bring Camino. Nobody knows him. But if he was a ranger, he might know the map decently well, and it'd be cool to see one of the oldest rangers in action. So bring Camino along. That's 4. Plus, we get a chance to interview his ass and find out who he is. Number 5. We need a very solid comedic relief. We're actually going to bring along another medic. I believe. I'm trying to remember. Tilly May. That's the name.
Ooh, okay.
The one time, the twice I've seen her, first time was actually me respawning very early on in the game, or in the server, like when I was starting. And it's kind of funny, because I showed up out of nowhere, and I was like, whoa. I didn't expect to put me in an office right in front of this medic here. And then the second time, actually doing a checkup on me, and my God, was she hilarious. Oh, she was so funny. So she'd be a really good one. That is 5, right?
Yep. Final one.
Okay, final one. I've heard funny things about the legend Baz Kerrigan, so we'll bring him along. Apparently he's
Oh. All right.
Baz Kerrigan.
if that's his name. I know it's
Yeah.
Baz. I don't know if it's Kerrigan. Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
Kerrigan Ranch.
Yep.
that'll be a 6. We're to like pick a
Ooh.
powerhouse group of rangers.
Very nice.
It would be Buzz, Bear, Deuce, Tibbet, Alfred, Cat. Be the
Aw.
power group right there.
Yeah, that's about as dream team as you can get.
Yeah,
Maybe
really.
throw in a few more, exchange a few. I could see someone doing like Peter and Eli in there.
Yeah.
This is like that's when work really gets done. Powerhouse.
All right. We're down to the last 2 questions, guys. What would be the one tip you tell an aspiring ranger, in character and out of character? It could be one thing in character, one thing out of character.
Out of character, I just tell him like the commitment thing, just it isn't your average sort of service role play. Things aren't gonna come to you as often as law or doctors. It's slow. Sometimes it goes weeks before something even gets to us, and you will suffer burnout very quickly if you don't give yourself time. So I'd say just commitment and knowing your limit when it's time to take a break. In character, what Deuce would say to someone. Oh, and then he would basically sum it up to quit being a goddamn sissy. Get out there and go get some work done. About as simple as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, out of character, I would say just you're in a service role where you are giving far more than you're getting in terms of role play. I mean, you're not actively involved with crazy cool scenes. You're not in shootouts. You're not in shady deals. You're not committing crimes. You're not tracking down criminals. You are the meat and potatoes of what you're doing is going out searching a barren, or not a barren, but like you're searching a big area for one person, and there's a good chance when you find them that they give you the equivalent of a thanks bro, that's cool fist bump, and then just they go away. I mean, it's not a role that you should be expecting like crazy shit to happen to you. The Rangers is not a place where the most exciting or dangerous shit happens. It's a place where slow burn roleplay and getting familiarized with other people that you work with is like the key thing that you're doing. It's also a really good it's a really good way for you to learn the game as well, because everything we teach you is about the map and server mechanics, basically. I mean, we have a big turnout of people who are new to the server, and they bring their character over to the Rangers. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a majority of the recruits we get, is that they're new to the server. They've actually been around for maybe a month or 2, if that, and they hear about the Rangers and they want to do that, and they come to us. And sometimes they disappoint themselves expecting us to be like Law 2.0, when in reality that's not what we are. In character, kind of the same thing as that's what Preacher said. I mean, just shut the hell up and get your goddamn work done. I mean, if you want to make it far, like if your character wants to become a game warden or even a huntsman or maybe even one day head ranger, you're not gonna get it by telling everybody that's what you want. In character, that you need to let your actions speak for yourself. Be accountable, be good at what you do, be proactive in trying to learn things, and show that you have what it takes to lead a group of people. And trust me, we see that. I mean, we've had plenty of rangers who have shown no interest in rising the ranks at all. I mean, they come in here and all they want to do is just do the work and do it well. And then those are the people that become seniors. Those are the people that become game wardens. And that's how you do that. I've not seen, I mean, Andy's been around the Rangers longer than I have, but in the actually next month will be a year. Wow, I didn't even realize that. In the nearly 1 year I've been in the Rangers, everybody that I've seen show, like they openly said that they want to become a senior, or they want to become a game warden, or they want to become a huntsman. They never do that because they let their words speak for themselves and not their actions.
Wow, almost brought me to tears with that one.
You guys are such a ball busters between each other.
All right, so Preacher, I need you to do something for me. I need you to open up your window. I need you to tell me what you see right now.
I already muted up. I have no reason to speak to you.
You have no reason. Okay.
All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Let's bring this
July
course
15th,
home.
3:58 p.m.
Whoa, is that what you're saying for the patch?
No. That's
He's preparing. Well, he wants me to prepare for that date, for whatever shenanigans he has in store.
Are you gonna get like a potato gun and he's gonna open his window and you're gonna launch it into his room?
No, he's gonna do nothing on that date and time. Not a single damn thing is gonna be done.
No, he said he. Oh, did we bring that up? Was that before? Was that before the podcast?
Oh, people are wondering.
Deal?
People are wondering. Yeah, that was brought up before. But people are wondering, will there be a meeting of the minds on this July 15th? Like, will you guys meet?
No.
Oh no, that was just a random date and time that I pulled out of my ass. That meant nothing.
Well, shucks.
It's like a joke because way back in the day, it was a running joke because I said it first. I said some some random date on March of last year, like March 28th or March something. And I kept telling that to everybody. It's just like, be ready. And
I think we were clowning on you, and whenever we would clown on you, you would bump the date closer, like by a few days.
Just make a joke out of it. So that's kind of where that comes from.
So to wrap this up, no, you guys are fantastic. To wrap this up, what are your hopes for the future of the Rangers?
I hope that we continue to grow. I hope that we. All right, let me describe the ideal word here. The ideal world here. We have something planned for the Rangers. It's a route people can take to expand their skill set and mind. My ideal future is that every Ranger that comes into the Corps, they lose their gray, they get their green, that they choose one of these paths, they walk it, they master it, and they become the ultimate Ranger in that regard. And the idea is that we expand more and more and more, and we don't get near a law because we're never going to have the same amount of numbers as law. I mean, there's no way we can expect that. But the future of seeing like 15 or 20 Rangers clocked on at once, everyone having to divide themselves, like a tip comes in, there's like 6 people at the Amberino Tower, and the call is for like Grizzlies East, right? And you know, they maybe want 3 or 4 to go out at most, preferably 3, they would choose each person that would walk down that path. Like, oh, you know, I'm good with navigation. I've walked the path of this thing, and you know they go out there and they lead it, and everybody has a specialty, and no one's locked out of anything. Everybody is as good as they can be, and there's a lot of them, and they give good role play, and they all play patty cake, and they all sing Kumbaya around the campfire, and then Bear dies of a heart attack. That's the ideal right there. That's what we're hoping for. But yeah, it's fun.
Wow.
I like it.
Very nice. Very nice.
What do you got, Preacher?
Say it.
I want to get to the point where I basically can call it sort of quits. Leave the Ranger Corps knowing that it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Where I know one of these seniors can take up the mantle, the little title that I have left, Game Warden, and continue to maintain and even elevate it to a higher standard and anything in that regard. That's what I want to get to the point where, I mean, it could happen any point. You know, I have no real goals with this character. I've never had any goals. At any point in time, if I find that scene necessary, you know, it's good, very good scene, and adding a death to it will only solidify it even further, I may or may not perma. It just really depends. I get to the point where I can perma that character, perma Deuce, or retire him, and not having to feel bad about it because a real important character just died and it's kind of going to leave the Rangers in a pretty bad spot. I want to get to the point where the character can go however I choose, and there is someone there that can pick it up. And I think we're getting very close to that. Slowly, but surely, getting close to it. That's where I'm at. That's the goal.
Absolutely phenomenal, the two of you. Guys, I want to thank you both so much for being on the 4th episode of Ranger Things. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with? Nothing too traumatizing, please.
I don't know. Really put something out to the kids out there,
Dude.
you know. Let the younger generation. We got to inspire them.
Dude, you are the younger generation.
I am.
Should we even get into that? Should we reveal for people that don't know? Are you open to revealing that to the audience?
I am. If Preacher's not, I'm not going to bring it up. But if he is,
I'll
okay. So, I currently have played. I mainly play characters that are old. I think like the youngest character I've ever played across multiple Reddit servers is like 34. But I play Bear Walker, who is a 66-year-old man, and I am currently 18 years old. So I play this rough and gruff, grumpy old, grizzled mountain man of an old man, and I'm not even 20. I'm not even 19. I'm 18. The thing is, I can put on a goddamn awesome voice, in my honest opinion. So it kind of evens out in the end, but not too well.
Hey, you can
And
put
same-
on a good voice, but
And same thing
It don't
goes
come out
for
very
Preacher.
you can put on a good voice, but you're doing a shitty mic. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in the grace period. I got a Blue Yeti before it was not allowed to have Blue Yetis.
Yeah, the cat's out of the bag, man.
Cat's out of the bag now.
Some of the youngest players, guys, on the server play the oldest.
Oldest characters.
And it's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's kind of funny. Like, if people are looking from it from afar, it's kind of funny seeing these two older guys in quotations, pointing people in directions, telling them do this, do that. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a wide range of ages in the core. We have people that are around the same age as us, like 19, 20, and we have people that are in their 50s, and we technically have superiority over them in character, and that baffles me. That
because it's just a video game. It is all in character.
It's all in character.
That's right.
If I met this person in real life, I would call him sir.
But in the game, it's like drop and give me 20.
In the game, like I need you to go out on the search and rescue. I'm doing goddamn paperwork. Get on it.
That's what I love doing it the most. Oh man, I did it with I did it. You were there when I did it with who was it? Nadia. She was doing I forget what she was doing, but it was something foolish. And this is when you were like just coming back around, actually. And then we were catching up, talking like Game Warden stuff. And here she comes, and we go across the bridge. I seen her do this, and I was like, Taylor's, go and give me 2 laps around Strawberry. And I don't want anyone to do that, but it's just kind of funny. And they're like, oh,
it was,
really?
Yeah. It was such like a kind of like a not a blow, but like a shocking thing. Like it's for me and Bear when I saw that, because I was off studying for like college and like state championship stuff, and I didn't play on Bear for like a solid like 2 months. Like I would hop on every now and then, but there's a period where the support bot sent me a DM and asked if I was still active and if I need to be put on leave of absence. Like it gotten that bad. But I mean, one of the first days I come back, Preacher he's kind of just give me the rundown of everything that's been going on. And I believe, was Nadia in the gray at this point, or was she freshly in the green?
I don't remember.
Either way, she runs up to you. She did something. I don't know if she did something wrong or what, but you looked at her and you went, give me 2 laps, and she went, yes sir, and then she just did 2 laps. I'm sitting there. I'm like, what? Has Deuce turned into a drill sergeant? I mean, what's going on? But it's cool. It's cool having that dynamic with our Rangers. Like just a few days ago, me and Deuce come back in. We're coming in from Manzanita. We come into Strawberry, and there's like 5 people just standing around the lodge. And I think it was 4. 6 total, including me and Deuce. We get there, everybody's just standing there talking. No one's doing anything. And then Bear goes, you 2, go do something. You 2, go do something. Me and Deuce are going to go do something.
And then everyone went and did something.
Everyone went and did something. I think one of them went on a patrol together, and the other ones went like herb picking or something.
It's like search and rescue or something. Yeah. So it's fun. I definitely do enjoy it.
Yeah. And I don't remember who said it, but we have in the WildRP Discord, we have our own section. Since we have a service role, we have our own section where we have information on all the Ranger stuff. We have a general chat, and someone in there pointed out that us being in our position is like setting us up for the future or whatever, with like
being managers, being managerial roles and things.
Yeah, managing people and leading people and distributing work and stuff, and it kind of opened my eyes like about how much actual like work goes into this and how it isn't just like a simple like video game, like point and click adventure, shoot and kill sort of deal.
Sailor Pixel, by the way. Sailor Pixel.
Who plays?
Clarabelle.
Clarabelle.
It's crazy. because I'm seeing some of these characters, and the first time I'm ever seeing them, so I'm like thinking they're new characters, and then you can do like that home key and see people's like when that character is created. There were some really old characters. Like one of our recruits, he was the 1,299th character made. And I'm like, damn. I'm sitting at lucky number 10,000.
Yeah, he got 10,000 on the dot. I'm jealous.
Oh, I never checked. I never checked that. I mean, I do like if I'm getting robbed or anything, but I don't. I've never just gone up to random rangers and just looked at their numbers.
It's pretty cool sometimes because here I am thinking, this is a new character. Someone getting their feet wet. You know, Clarabelle Kelly's been around for a long, long time. So, like 3,400 or something. I was like, damn.
I think Bear is like 7,000 or 8,000. I want to say.
I don't even know what mine is.
Pat myself on the back every day. I see that number 10,000.
And you're gonna perma him at some point. Shame.
Well, it just really depends. He could retire to Manzanita for the rest of his life. I don't know.
Fair.
It could happen. I could die. Maybe not. I don't know. It just all depends. But I will, I'm kind of like shooting in the dark here. But who knows? If Kono or somebody ever watches this, a developer, I'd pay genuine money to have a scopeless rolling block that does the same amount of damage as a normal bolt action. I would pay so much money for that.
This is his official call for action right here.
Because the Springfield it's too small. It don't look right. It looks like a toy gun in someone's hand, and then the rolling block just looks like the perfect black powder rifle. It just looks like the perfect mountain man gun. But no, I'm stuck with the goddamn double barrel.
And on they'll figure something out. They are amazing here at WildRP. Macho, Preacher, I want to thank you guys so much. This has been educational, I will say that, but it is always a pleasure getting the two of you into a chat together and just hearing you two vibe off one another. With that, we are going to wrap up. I want to thank you guys both again. I want to thank everybody that came in today. We are going to head over to PB&J Lee, who is currently doing a Med Talk podcast with Fro, who plays. Oh, I'm trying to remember who Fro plays. As the what's their meta character name? Lucia. Yes, Lucia. So let's get over there. We're gonna keep the podcast rolling tonight. So get over there, give everybody some love.
Back to back.
That's right. Back-to-back podcasts. Get excited. Thank you guys so much again. Thank you all for being here, and we will catch you next time. All right. Bye-bye.
See you.
They always say so.